Welcome to another episode of our Terrier TV sports show. I am your host, Alex Gajovich-Protich. Today we are going through the MLB wildcard race, predicting those winners, and predicting how the MLB playoffs will shape out. Let's get right into it. So the division winners right now, the New York Yankees, the Houston Astros, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Cleveland Guardians, and the St. Louis Cardinals. Now the only division that is undecided is the NL East. Right now, the Mets have a one-game lead over the Atlanta Braves. However, both teams have clinched a playoff berth. As for the wild card, the Blue Jays have the top spot in the AL wild card by 2.5 games. The Tampa Bay Rays by 1 game in the second spot, and then the Seattle Mariners in the third spot. And then the Orioles are 4 games out of any spot in the wild card. You take a look at the National League. The Braves lead their wild card spot by 13 games. Then it's the San Diego Padres who lead by 3, and then the Phillies in the final spot, followed by the Milwaukee Brewers, and then the San Francisco Giants, who are both out of the wild card spots. In terms of the remaining schedule, which is very important for the American League, the Blue Jays have a 3-game set against Boston at home, then travel to Baltimore for 3 games. The Tampa Bay Rays face the Cleveland Guardians in Cleveland for 1 more game, then make a road trip to Houston and then Boston for each 3 games. So very tough schedule there. The Seattle Mariners face Texas at home, then they face Oakland at home, and then Detroit at home. So a very cooling homestand if you're a Mariners fan. In terms of division records to note and all the remaining schedule for the National League, the Braves face the Mets at home for 3 games and then travel to Miami for 3 games. The Padres versus the LA Dodgers at home for 1 game, and then they go and face the White Sox for 3 games and then the Giants for 3 games, all at home. So once again, a very cool, calm, and collected homestand if you're a Padres fan. Then the Phillies, they face Chicago, not the White Sox, but the Cubs for 1 game in Chicago. Then they travel to Washington, D.C. to face the Nationals for 4 games, and then Houston for 3 games in Houston. So a very tough road trip for the Phillies to finish the season. In the last 10 games, the Atlanta Braves are 6-4. The Mets are 7-3. The Padres are 8-2. The Phillies are 3-7. And then the Milwaukee Brewers are 5-5. So let's get to predictions. In my opinion, here is how it's going to stack out for the American League. The Houston Astros, obviously, they lead by 6 games in terms of that first seed. They're going to get the first seed. The second seed will be the New York Yankees. Cleveland has the 3rd seed, the 4th seed, Toronto Blue Jays, Seattle Mariners 5th seed, and then the 6th seed, it's going to be the Tampa Bay Rays. And then for the National League, the Los Angeles Dodgers have the best record in the MLB. They've already clinched that, so that's going to be the 1st seed. The 2nd seed is going to be the New York Mets. The 3rd seed is going to be the Atlanta Braves. 4th seed, St. Louis Cardinals. 5th seed, San Diego Padres, and then 6th seed, Milwaukee Brewers. As the Phillies, they've been 3-7 in their last 10 games, and they have a very tough schedule coming up, so I don't think they'll make the playoffs. Let's get to the playoff predictions. Now, we're going to go through the American League first, the National League, and then finish up with the World Series. In terms of the wild card, you have the Blue Jays at the Mariners. I think the difference is going to be pitching in this series and also a bit of hitting. Julio Rodriguez is a name to remember, and then pitching-wise, they'll probably start Luis Castillo in terms of the Mariners, and the Blue Jays will probably start Alek Manoah. But I think the Mariners will take that one. In terms of the second wildcard game, it's going to be Rays at Guardians. And once again, I think pitching is going to be the difference. Not a lot of offense there. This young Cleveland team had one of the lowest salaries in the league, and it's a miracle that they actually won their division. Not a very good division to say, but I think the Tampa Bay Rays are going to go out and they're going to beat the Guardians in Cleveland. You move on to the divisional series, Rays versus Yankees. The Yankees have home field advantage. The potential for power. Now, obviously, the Rays and the Yankees have had some tough battles in the playoffs the last few years, going back to 2020. I think the Yankees take this one in the divisional series. I think the pitching is definitely going to be something to look for. And then the potential for power, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton always lights it up in the playoffs. Same thing can be said for Josh Donaldson and Gleyber Torres. And then you look at the divisional series, the other one, more like the West Coast one, the Mariners versus the Astros. The energy and the home field advantage, I think, is going to play into it. And with that being said, I'm going to take the Astros. Now, the championship series, it's an old one. It's one that's been going for the last few years. The Yankees versus the Astros. The Astros have the home field advantage. The Yankees took off a lot of games this year with a lot of silly lineups, in my opinion. And I think the Astros are going to win this one. Home field advantage, bats or lack thereof. It always seems that the Yankees lack bats in the playoffs, and that's going to be something, to look for. Will they have enough power? Will they not have enough power? So overall, man, I think the Astros are going to go ahead and take the pennant and go to the World Series. Now you look at the National League. In terms of the wild card, Brewers at Braves, I'm definitely going to take the Braves. I think that there's a lot of offensive production there. And then you look at the Padres at the Cardinals. The Cardinals are not necessarily in a good division. It seems like the Central divisions aren't necessarily good across the MLB. I'm going to take the Padres there. Finally, after last year and a disaster end of the season, they go back to the playoffs with Bob Melvin as their manager. And I think pitching and offense is going to play into it. Now you look at the divisional set, the Atlanta Braves at the New York Mets. Offense and pitching, I think that's going to play a factor. Obviously, some Mets fans are very disappointed with their trade deadline, and the Braves have always been grinding it out, especially these last 2 years under Brian Snitker. I'm going to take the Atlanta Braves, and then for the other one, going to the West Coast once again, the San Diego Padres at the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think offensive firepower is going to be a big factor. Multiple players on the Los Angeles Dodgers lead statistically in terms of batting average, in terms of hits, home runs, all that stuff you can find on the Los Angeles Dodgers, including Freddie Freeman. I think the Dodgers are going to take that one. And then you move to the championship series. It's going to be Braves at the Dodgers. I think home field is going to play a huge factor. Obviously, the Dodgers' best team in the MLB in terms of record. They've choked the last few years in the playoffs, but I have them going to the World Series, and I think the Braves don't make it 2 in a row in terms of a pennant. Now, World Series, it's an old one. It's an old matchup. Obviously, the cheating scandal kind of, makes this matchup a little bit more interesting. So it's going to be Astros and Dodgers. Dodgers have the better record, but then again, I forget if the All-Star game determines home field advantage. Anyway, I think offensive firepower and the cheating scandal is going to fuel Dave Roberts' team because, well, Freddie Freeman's on that team, Trey Turner, all these other guys, and Los Angeles finally wants to take it home. They are just sick and tired of being called that Mickey Mouse team from 2020. This is the year I think they do it. Well, that pretty much wraps up this segment. Thank you all for watching this video. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And check out other videos on the Terrier TV channel. We will see you in the next video. Goodbye.